The electronic time machine.
The 20th century has been an age of transformation. It rode into our lives on a horse and buggy, and it will leave on wings, traveling twice the speed of sound. That astonishing rate of change will carry us careening through the next half century toward 2039.
You're about to step off into that year and find an electronic world. More than ever before, our lives will be shaped by the technology we've created. What you are about to see are the ideas of the futurists, the dreamers of this part of the century. The dreams are all grand. In 2039, a hypersonic jet now being designed will take less than 3 hours to fly 750 people from Tokyo to New York. Magnetic levitation trains now in development will travel more than 250 miles an hour. A trip from New York to Washington will take less than an hour. Chicago to Seattle might take just 8. And in 2039, your newspaper, for lack of a future term, will come by phone line and carry only stories important to you. But where to begin tonight? Where the dreamers of 50 years ago never thought to look. At the sun. In many ways, it will be one of the keys to 2039.
Solar energy will directly displace all fossil fuel use in the commercial sector and will significantly displace other conventional forms of electricity if their costs are high.
Solar-powered cars, they are barely off the test tracks today. But experts say by 2039, at least 1 out of 10 new cars will be solar-powered. More than 3 million on the road here at home, 8 million more in Europe. Imagine many of these cars on the Los Angeles freeways running on the sun's power, producing no smog because they don't burn gasoline, and running for free. That will be a part of the 2039 reality. Electricity for our homes? On 1,000 acres in Southern California, Luce International today collects 200 megawatts of solar energy, enough to power a residential area the size of Tampa, Florida. With new collectors under construction, Luce will power a residential area the size of Denver or New Orleans by 1994. Some experts even suggest in 50 years the sunny Southwest will be an energy machine for the entire nation. In 2039, at least 4 out of 10 homes in America will get some or all of their power from non-petroleum energy sources. All new construction by then will include it.
In the average American's life in the next 50 years, they will have homes that are passively solar designed, that will have solar hot water heating on their roofs, and I would say somewhere about 10 to 20% of the electricity they receive from their utility will be solar powered.
Imagine your heat, air conditioning, and hot water all provided pollution-free. What else can we expect in our future homes? By 2039, you'll be able to design almost anything you can dream of, anything your budget will allow. With today's new technology, before this house is even built, computer-aided design can show you a three-dimensional model and even take you inside. This special glove will be available soon, and with it, you'll be able to fine-tune the design. For instance, let's move that door until the house is exactly the way you want it. But 50 years from now, you'll be able to put on special goggles, and the simulated house will surround you, just as realistic and big as the real house might be. The model will still be computer-generated, but you'll feel like you're right inside of it. You'll be able to check every detail, both inside and out. One more thing about that house. It will be smart, run by a sophisticated computer. It will know when to rotate the satellite dish, open the drapes, and start the vacuum cleaner robot. It will do just about anything you ask it to do. Once the family of the future moves in, it's down to business. About the size of a magazine, this will be your workstation.
Today, you have a faculty lunch at 12 o'clock. You need to take Kathy to the airport by 2. You have a lecture at 4:15 on deforestation in the Amazon rainforest.
Apple sees it as a personal computer that knows your needs.
Let me see the lecture notes from last semester.
Here is the rate of deforestation he predicted.
Mm-hmm. And what happened? Interesting. Print this article before I go.
Now printing.
Computers are almost everywhere now. But they will be everywhere in 50 years. Even most cars will carry computer-driven electronic maps that will plot your location by satellite. And computers will play an even bigger role in education, becoming the chalk and blackboard of the 21st century.
Egg. Apple.
Computers will teach us everything from science to Shakespeare.
Could you read this speech to me, please?
Who would you like to read it?
The Williamson reading.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
But perhaps more than anything else, computers will make the handling of information easier, and we will become smarter, faster.
I think the most positive change in the future really concerns the change of our mindset. It's our capacity to learn and to learn new things, which I think is going to multiply by a factor of 5 or 10 over the next 50 years.
And as machines get smarter, they will take on even more human characteristics. This robot can react to its surroundings because it's run by a computer.
Paula, here is your coffee and newspaper.
In 1939, no one had yet imagined that a tiny chip of silicon would revolutionize our lives, make it possible to have a machine that's smart. Remember R2-D2, Star Wars smart robot run by computer and solar power?
I've just about had enough of it.
Well, meet RB5X, a game-playing robot teacher. Here, he measures distances.
2 feet, 10 inches. What's 2 feet, 2 feet, 10 inches.
Other robots are getting involved in industry. Though their Hollywood cousins are currently smarter,
Input. More input.
real robots are beginning to catch up. This one can move down a hall, avoiding obstacles in its way. And the eyes on this one teach it how far to reach before it grabs. So 50 years from now, you actually may get help like this at a party.
I can cook, clean. I have been programmed to respond to a complex series of domestic commands.
What do you really envision for the average homeowner?
Well, I really envision robots in their home. I envision them helping them with a lot of the tasks that they don't really like to do or don't have time to do, to try to provide us with the kinds of mechanisms, the kinds of tools that allows us to do more of what we want to do with our lives.
If robots and computers are doing the drudge work in 2039, that means a lot more free time for us. But 21st century couch potatoes will be a whole different breed.
R2, light speed to endure.
Imagine if you could have this ride in your living room and you could interact with it, control where your spaceship took you. The visionaries behind it say this will happen even sooner than 2039.
The visuals would come streaming by you, the sounds would be there would be gushes of air coming out, and you would be a participant so that if you take a right turn, you could go to a planet or a different star, but you could choose.
Imagine a world that you can, not that you're watching on a screen, but imagine a world that you can walk around in.
Hey, look!
That you can influence.
Look out! Look!
That has the resolution of a real environment. Only the whole thing is imaginary.
An imaginary reality. Futurists use the term virtual reality, and it's based on the same technology you saw earlier when our house was designed. Right now, a real hand can interact with an imaginary world on a flat computer screen. And this new toy will be available at Christmas.
You're able to give commands with simple hand gestures like never before.
But in 50 years, you'll add these goggles to the gloves, and while you sit at home, you'll move into a world you create, a world that surrounds you.
The best way to understand what virtual reality will be like in 50 years is to think about your own dreams and imagine that your friends can really be in them with you. That's what it'll be like.
That may sound crazy, but right now, NASA scientists are planning to use these futuristic tools to explore planets no human could get to any other way. Visions of the future. During the next 50 years, the kinds of technology we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes are going to make their way into every facet of our lives. Computers, microchips, robots, we, our children, our grandchildren are going to find our lives dominated by them.
Futurists tell us some of the biggest changes will come in a place as close to home as your doctor's office. What about medicine, health care across the next 50 years? Think about a world free of 500 different diseases that now afflict us. That's next, when the electronic time machine continues.